Welcome to my another video of the T480 and the T25 frankenpad series. So today I'm going in a more detailed review about these two machines, and I will talk about the difference and then the usability, like the user experience, and talk a bit more about the costs. So a little bit of overview. So it's like the two T480s of my family. We used to have three, but we sold one of them because it was unneeded. So here are two of the better spec one. So yes, you can see this is the T480 with the 25th anniversary edition from the T470 keyboard and palmers already mounted on, and the keyboard works just fine. The LED works. We will talk more about it later, but yep, see, you can see it is the ThinkPad T480, and here's a little bit more detailed spec of the two machines. I've already told this before, but yeah, this has a Core i5-8250U and the MX150 graphics with 16 gigs of RAM at 2133 megahertz. Yeah, DDR4 2133. So there's a basic spec of this, and this is like my little brother's T480. This one is a little bit more powerful than my own. Let me check. So yeah, Core i7-8550U, also MX150 graphics, and 16 gigs of 2400 megahertz DDR4 RAM. Yeah, so this one is 8250, so the Core i5 and the Core i7. These are like probably the more home-oriented, the non-V Pro Intel Core i chips of the T480, and all of these boards come from China. Yeah, so if you search about the serial numbers here, it will appear that the place of origins are from China, because the two motherboards in here are from Chinese ThinkPads. And yeah, Chinese ThinkPads are, I mean, if you kind of want to find a T480 with a dedicated GPU, then yeah, they're going to be most of them are going to be from China anyway. So alright, so this is the biggest difference: the keyboard and the palmers. And yes, as you can see, stock contrast, this thing has the classic keyboard style where there's no chiclet, there's virtually no space between the keys, and the LEDs are green, so in line with the T470. Has dedicated volume buttons, mute button. This is a microphone mute button, but because this thing was designed for the T25 and T470, so the keybinds for these two machines are different. We will talk about it more later, but yeah, the power button also green, and also this is the only keyboard that has a backlit, or the classic keyboard that has some sort of backlight, as you can see. But unfortunately, the keyboard is Japanese because the US ANSI, I don't know how to pronounce it, has virtually gone extinct. So there you have it, the Japanese JAS keyboard with a tiny S, with a super tiny spacebar, a giant ISO enter key, and a lot of tiny backspace, tiny shift key, you name it. And yes, this keyboard is actually bigger than the normal T480. You can see like the arrow key cut out. Yeah, it's in line with the keyboard itself, and yeah, it goes down more. So that's the first difference: the classic keyboard, and then this like the modern chiclet style keyboard. And the second difference is, the trackpad button is also different. This thing doesn't really have the blue the blue accent colors here. You have it. Also the blue legend of the keyboard. You know, the green alt key and the language related keys. Yeah, this is exclusively on the Japanese models. You know, blue enter key. This definitely has black and a different trackpad. So this thing has a smaller uses a smaller trackpad from the X on Carbon 6 Gen, which this uses. You know, like this is just a standard T480 like plastic, plastic coat in some sort of coated keyboard, and there is a glass trackpad from the X on Carbon 5th and 6th Gen. Yeah, the trackpad is way smoother than the original T480 keyboard. Yeah, it is way smoother, and I have experienced zero disconnects while, you know, with the T480 keyboard, with the T480 trackpad, sorry. And sometimes it just stopped recognizing and have to reboot the machine for it to function again. I've never met that issue with the glass trackpad, and it feels way nicer to scroll on compared to this. It feels way smoother. So yeah, that's the second difference. The trackpad, you have the keyboard difference and the trackpad difference. You know, power button position is also different, and you know, and the fingerprint sensor. So the T25 frankenpad, as you can see, uses the T470 fingerprint sensor, which is way bigger and way more responsive than the T480 fingerprint sensor. Like you can just look at the difference. You know, this thing has a white LED light, and this thing has a, you know, green LED light. I'm not going to see. Has a green LED light. My brother doesn't set a password for his machine, so I kind of activated it. But if you own a T480, you will know what I'm talking about. So yeah, fully white is like keyboard status LED, like the F analog, and then the mute button, also white. So yeah, here is a mixture of red. You can see red and green. Yeah, green combo box, key lamp, white, green. So yeah, that's the major difference. Okay, so let's more in depth. So the keyboard wise, although they share the same key travel, the T25 keyboard feels way more nicer to type on. Like the keys are super sturdy. There's pretty much zero wiggle. There's next to zero wiggle. I mean, this keyboard when it received is basically brand new. Even now I haven't used it for over a month, and there's barely any kind of like, you know, like one of those shiny keyboard phenomenon caused by sweat. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. The keys are way more nicer. It feels a little bit more tactile, even though they share the same key travel, probably because it's newer. You know, this thing is, you can really see they wiggle a lot more. And yeah, they have a lot of spaces. You know, not the best use case of spaces. And the trackball style, yeah, this uses like, I don't know what kind of style more with. This is the trackball that came like with this keyboard by default. It is this weird style. And yeah, this thing my brother just installed like the carton, like a little bit hollow in the inside type. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, he likes it, so he installed it. Okay. Okay. So that's the keyboard. This keyboard will feel way more nicer to type on. Well, if you can ignore the tiny little backspace and the spacebar, you can just rebind this button to act as a spacebar, as a backscape key, or the right shift or whatever. But this just doesn't feel the same because I'm a Vietnamese, so the keyboard has to be set as the US layout, and the problem with typing with a Japanese keyboard is that some characters just don't act the same. So, for example, if I go to plus key, right? No, it will appear as a colon. See? it should be a plus key, right? But because of software, it is just Vietnamese and English US, it will act as a colon as expected on US keyboard. So yeah, so they kind of complement each other, which compared to a typical US normal T480 keyboard compared to JAS. But yeah, if you can get over the Japanese layout, then yes, it's a way superior keyboard in my opinion. So that's the biggest difference. Yeah, the trackpad I was told. Oh yeah, more keyboard problems because nobody has rewritten the embedded controller mod. The FN, the function keys, at least for the first few function keys, the rest acts pretty much the same. But yeah, first function key. So F2 is the volume down button, F3 volume up, F4 microphone mute button, F5 F6 asks for brightness. So yeah, the FN plus home end and page up doesn't do anything. So it doesn't adjust the brightness, it doesn't adjust the keyboard backlight. Yeah, keyboard backlight is still FN in space. So that's the main difference. So yes, that's probably the main difference that you can build one T25 frankenpad properly. But well, I mean, this thing has a lot of issues, and now I'm going to tell you. For example, the screen bezel. You can see that it just, yeah, I got exposed. It didn't go close fully because you guess what? Yeah, the left hinges is from the T470. It's not from the T480. You have to replace the hinge with. You have to remove the screen bezel, and I, for the love of God, couldn't remove it and put it back on properly. So now it's just like a bit of wobbly mess. And yeah, even I didn't really put it on correctly. So you can see, yeah, the display hinges are very wobbly, as you can see. While opening and closing, yeah, this thing is still in its original package, so it's super duper sturdy compared to whatever this is. That's the first issue. And oh yeah, and this media, and yeah, the media buttons cover, because my keyboard didn't come with one, so I have to like get a 3D print file, and I printed the cheapest print ever. At least it was able to close. This like old thing vanish button just is for decoration. The normal T25 doesn't have it. The power button is salvaged from a dead T420 keyboard. Yeah, it was salvaged for a dead T420 keyboard. I put it here. Yeah, simply putting it on will not work. You have to put a small rubber dome on the button so it would make contact with the power, with the actual power button underneath itself. So yeah, it works. So yeah, it works. So yeah, that's the okay. So that's the primary. So yeah, the next issue. This video will be a little bit long because I tried to film everything in one take. So yeah, let's flip the machines backwards. Yeah, let's flip it around and we'll show you all the problems. Yeah, these two machines both have the more advanced battery. This thing has my T25 has a 72 watt-hour pack. This thing has a 48 watt-hour pack. So, alright, so the previous Palmer's comparison is for when you can build your T25, more properly. So yeah, here is the comparison when more issues when you didn't build it properly. I didn't really build it properly, so here's the bottom cover. You can see everything is nice and flush. Yeah, here's my T25. You can see the issues. Yeah, you can see the issues. Like this part is bent, and there's some So the issue with the T25 palm rest is very, well, it's very far fragile. When I assemble this, all the clips of the palm rest pretty much snapped off. All of them snap off. So yeah, it gives a very awkward position. Yeah, at least from on the right side, there is not really any noticeable difference. Yeah, it is the same. But yeah, because of the fitment issues, the battery latch couldn't be closed properly. So yeah, as you can see, it wasn't able to close properly. Yes, at least fortunately, like with the correct battery management driver installed, when you like the indication latch for the software to know that if this battery is in place or getting removed, is the primary is the first latch which in my case was able to close properly. Now to the right, now to the right side. So in order to fit a T25 palm resting keyboard into the T480, you have to shape a lot of the right part. Actually, to the left ports, but yeah, on this flipping is on the right. So yeah, the USB-C ports, because the T470 has a completely different port layout on this side compared to the T480. It doesn't have two USB-C ports, while the T480 does. So yeah, in order to really fit, you have to like shape all the port mounting screws away, and yeah, it is a horrendous job of fitting it. Like, it barely fits, and you can see like we because when I couldn't even have it fit properly. My dad tried a bit more, and we were actually able to close. But you can see, yeah, it is not a really great job. But yeah, this project wouldn't have finished if it's not for it's a big help from my dad. So you can see, you have to shape all of it. But yeah, we done a very poor job, and then we have like a 3D print mount. Yeah, this 3D print is also not really made very precisely, so it's just like really hanging there. This normally it was mounted with there is a screw mount, so you can mount it here, but yeah, we completely destroyed. So this whole part, there's the whole 3D print gray part here, was glued down to the top part of the palm rest via super glue. So yeah, as you can see, the ports doesn't really align with the bottom cover cutout. But fortunately, I was able to charge. Yeah, this is like a normal T480. You can see it is. Yeah, it is completely flush. Here, so as you can see, when you're able to charge. Fortunately, I am able to charge this thing. It is a little bit difficult to actually fit the ports in, but it will fit eventually. See? So yeah, it does come in. But yeah, this thing has a little bit like a tilted down angle. Oh, I hate autofocus. So yeah, it is a little bit tilted, as you can see. Yeah, for the Thunderbolt port 2, yeah, I am able to fit it, and it was the computer is able to charge. So yeah, it is very fortunate that this thing comes together. Yeah, originally when I have the issue fitment, yeah, it kinda shorts something out, so the laptop sometimes just refuses to turn on, or it just turns on and then shut up immediately. And yeah, I have to smack it, or I have to really open the top cover and give it a good, and maybe I had to remove the motherboard and give it a good brush on time in order for it to turn on again. But at least for now, it works just fine. So yeah, that's the main comparison. You know, the performance-wise, it is more or less the same because it has nearly identical CPUs. As the Core i5 and Core i7 didn't really have a big step up. This one has a touchscreen though. Yeah, it has a touchscreen. This thing doesn't. So yeah, that is pretty much near the comparison. Oh yeah, about the ports. Let me tell you one more thing, before I ended the video. Right, continuing to the topic. Let me introduce you the 4080 Ultra dock. Yes, this is the last ThinkPad mechanical dock, and you know this thing utilizes Thunderbolt. So yeah, that's with the bottom cover issue. Yeah, I will give you a quick demonstration. So this is already plugged in. You pop it in. So you pop it in, and then you latch it. Yeah, you recognize the computer. The laptop charges. Yeah, as you can see, it is charging, and you can lock it. Yeah, remove the keys. Yeah, I have some kind of like keychains ornament here. You see, you can able to actually close it. Yeah, also use the external power button here. So yeah, I will use this before for my original T480 before the mod. Okay, you can just slip it up. Okay, so and we have finished using the mod. So it is across the room. Yeah, so it's my T25 frankenpad. I put a bit of stickers on it because as you can see, it is the terrible film actually really fits the machine because you can see there's a outer shell of this laptop is pretty much destroyed. So yeah, because of the poorly fitment of the bottom of the palm rest and the bottom case mentioned below, yeah, I'm unable to use the dock. I can no longer use the dock with this machine. As you can see, it is unable to latch. So yeah, this dock is now completely useless, nearly completely useless for me. Now it sits in my room as as a decoration, as a collector's item. Because my brother, although it works with my brother's laptop, he doesn't have a use for it. So yeah, that's all of the pros and cons of the T25 frankenpad keyboard. Overall, I am satisfied because yes, it is one of my very first project that I spent quite a lot of money on. I spent around $150 US for the keyboard, for the hinges, for the trackpad, for the fingerprint sensor. Not including the original T480 pricing into it. So yeah, $150. And even though it fits a bit horribly, but at least it got finished. And one of the reasons that I could finish this project because that is from the assistant of my father. I, for the love of God, couldn't even screw the bottom cover and the palm rest all together, so he tried his best to shape it more and have some super glue on it, and yeah, it is now at least somewhat be able to fit and can be used as one piece. So yeah, I have a lot of thanks to him. He supported me a lot in this project. We stay up late like 1 or 2 days until like, probably the 2 a.m. just to try to finish this thing. So yeah, I'm very grateful, and yeah, satisfied because it's like the worst best ThinkPad ever. So yeah, thanks you guys for watching, and yeah, I hope to see you in another video.